So this webinar, Pathway to Becoming a CFO, it's aimed at providing advice for those looking to progress their careers in the accounting field. And our guest speaker this afternoon is Leah Lomtaz Dedina. Now, Leah has a very fascinating story. I've known Leah for many, many years. After moving to Canada, Leah began working as an accounting clerk at a Honda dealership, rising to office manager within a few months. Here, Leah improved workflows and managed time effectively, earning a certified management accountant designation while balancing work and family. Leah then became the controller of a mid-sized company servicing road signs in Ontario, demonstrating exceptional organizational skills. Her efficiency caught the attention of Manpower, a staffing agency, where she led strategic projects as financial controller of Canadian operations. She then served as financial controller of North America at Hayes Specialist Recruitment, achieving significant milestones. And this is where Leah and I met almost 12 years ago. From here, Leah transitioned into the legal industry as CFO and Director of Business Operations with a mid-size employment law firm known as Fillion Wakely. And here she oversaw multiple support areas and implemented a number of systems. So with over 25 years of experience, Leah aims to become an independent consultant for startups and mid-sized businesses. Her journey is a testament to her unwavering dedication and success. So first off, welcome, Leah, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Giancarlo, for introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to share with you my experience and answer your questions. I do hope that I can be helpful, and I'm here for you. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So welcome again. And we're going to jump in because we have a lot of topics that we want to cover. And today the format is going to be much of an interview style. And so, Leah, we're going to start, which I know a lot of people always ask us questions about, but the education piece. So for you specifically, how would you say your educational background influenced your approach to financial management and leadership?
Education is a key. It probably comes from family. We were very educational oriented. Education is instrumental for me. It was, it is, and always be. Willingness to learn. This is something that builds your strong foundation. Without education, I believe it's very difficult to become a great leader, because if you think about CFO position, it is about becoming a visionary and leader. Without knowledge that set examples for others who you lead, it will be very difficult to prove that you are an expert matter. Education gives you foundation for everything, for all your skills, and it doesn't mean it teach you everything, because you keep learning all your life from your experience, from your successes, from your errors, from everything. I always say you need to remember that you're not just meeting mandate. You're not just meeting deadline. You are leading people. You are inspiring people. How can you inspire people if, for example, you don't have strong educational background? It's very difficult. I don't think it's possible at all, because people feel leader very strongly when they know that they can rely on the leader, when they know that leader knows what to do. And leader knows what to do only if leader has strong knowledge that he or she can apply. It's very important. Sometimes you can have strong educational background, but you don't have the experience to apply this education. It takes time, it takes years, it takes a lot of projects, but if you have strong educational background, definitely you will be there. And this hunger for learning, I think always followed me. Very often I heard that people say, okay, what are the courses you didn't took, Leah? How many courses you can take? But it's something that interested me all the time. I like to be on the edge of knowledge, not only in finance area, but in technology, in social skills, in everything, because you need this knowledge. You need strong education. It's a key.
And so it sounds like there's always a constant learning, but it also sounds like education from an accounting perspective. So what you're doing, but also from a management and leadership. So were you also taking management and leadership courses as well along the way?
Definitely, because when I came to Canada, I started my designation, and my designation was Certified Management Accountant. At that time, there were 3 different accounting designations, and I picked up this one because this one uniquely positioned accountant not just as a number person, but also as a leader who leads and inspires people. It manages people, it manages, this designation helped to manage processes and organize your thoughts to lead projects, changes, implement improvements. That definitely something that I did, because you have your key foundational knowledge in finance area, and you do keep learning management skills.
Good thing. So I guess moving on from the education, it always being an ongoing journey, starting from the earliest journey, I guess, can you describe some of the early parts of your career and then what kind of motivated you to want to become a CFO and go down that path and continue where you've gone to?
Early parts of my career actually is very interesting question, Giancarlo, because I do have 2 early parts of my career. Because of the immigration, my life, professional life and personal life, divided into 2 big phases, before Canada and in Canada. Before Canada, I had early parts of my career, and coming to Canada, I had my early parts of the career, because um, uh, coming to Canada, as many of you probably know, changes everything. You need to start from scratch. Going back to my first phase of early part of the career, after university graduation, I became a research analyst in the research institute in the economics area. And very soon I realized that this space is something that very slow to me. I realize that I am more a business person. I realize that I need more boiling environment to apply my knowledge. And this is one of the milestones when I changed very firmly my career from being research person into the business person. When I went to business world, started as an accountant, controller, and by 33, I became a CFO. It was before Canada, early parts of my career. I always wanted to be responsible for everything, because when you have freedom of the decision making, and if you have knowledge, again, going back to education, you can make things happen. You see things and processes, procedures that can be improved. You see how you can train and coach people. You see how to make this process better, improve it. And this is what brings you the satisfaction of your own work. That's why working in the business line was more me. When I came to Canada, there was no questions to me where I should belong to. Definitely finance area. That's why my first job was in the finance area. It was a Honda dealership. I was an accounting clerk, not just accounting clerk, but accounting car deal clerk. And very soon, just because I had probably this accumulated experience from working in automotive industry, actually, before Canada, I was promoted to office manager. It was very quickly became obvious to me, if I want to pursue my career and become here who I was there, I will need to have my designation, professional designation, no matter what I know, what skills I have, but you do have to go from scratch and get this approach, this culture, this understanding, because it was new to me. No matter how confident you is, there were so many things to learn. And this is what I did. I entered a certified management accountant designation. It took for me 4 years to do it. I was working full time and I did it. And of course, it was a huge step forward because after that, I was able to be a controller and grow in the next roles. Did I
I think
answer your question?
no, you did, and what was interesting, you kind of hit it right from the beginning, is knowing what you wanted to do and not want to do from an early part of your career. I think a lot of times, too often we find people, they kind of fall into a position, and that's totally fine. A lot of people fall into positions, but then they just kind of stay there and they drift. They're not sure necessarily what they want. They haven't figured out what they want to do or the direction they want to go in, and they kind of just leave it up to whatever happens, happens. And I think there's so much value, and it's so important in figuring out what you want and what you don't want, and then kind of moving in the direction you do want. So kind of that, I thought that was really good that you said that. And so obviously you faced a lot of challenges, I'm sure, back home, and then obviously coming here. But what would be, kind of continuing that conversation, what would be some of the biggest challenges that stuck out along the way, not just necessarily at the beginning, but what were some of the biggest challenges in front of you as you became a CFO?
When we talk about challenges, I always divide them into two buckets. First of all, there are personal challenges, and then there are professional challenges. Sometimes they intercept each other. It's understandable. If I think about personal challenges, I guess just because I'm kind of person all the way in the work, for me, the biggest challenge was to balance my work responsibilities and personal responsibilities. No matter where I worked, no matter what position, I always worked and gave like 200% of myself. And it was very difficult because I like to control and manage things, and not only at work, at home too. And give up something was very difficult for me. But somehow I managed that, and I think I managed that well. I guess the last word is from members of my family, if they agree with this. But that was the biggest challenge, to balance work-related responsibilities and family-related responsibilities. Another personal challenge that I found, and maybe this is the one that relates to professional as well, is how to manage stress. Because as you know, our work as an accountants, no matter what position you are in, it is a stressful work, because we are under pressure of multiple deadlines, numerous requests, numerous complaints from everybody. How to handle stress, how to stay on course, how not to deviate from the focal points in your life. That was probably always a challenge. what helped me here, sense of humor, because very often I hear that I'm funny. That helped. Also, strong organizational skills and time management skills. Also, the ability to deflate very quickly, and tell myself, okay, this is maybe not the most important point for now. I'll think about this tomorrow. And today I have to be focused and do that. That means constant prioritization helped me to manage stress. But these are, I think, two main personal challenges that I found, and they still remain. But with time, it gets better because you know how to manage that. Professionally, and I hope you will not be surprised with what I say. Our work depends on people. The biggest our asset, is our people, our teams. At the same time, they are the biggest challenge. To learn multicultural specifics of each team member always was a key for me. Was I always successful? Probably not. But I tried to learn and keep this all the time because people are very important to me. You cannot be a successful leader, no matter what level you are at, if you don't have strong supporters, if you don't have team members who share your values, who understand where they're going. That's why it's very important how you deal with people, how you buy them out, how empathetic you are, how well you know them. It is a challenge, and this challenge never ends, and you learn every day to be respectful, to be firm and fair, to lead them, and to make them feel like they are appreciated. The second professional challenge, I would say, of course, it came from the boiling world of the business, because you know how many regulatory changes comes into our work. Every day something new, every day something new on the tax side, on another compliance side, business key stakeholders requests, all that brings, like, you literally cannot breathe sometimes because you understand the status quo is no longer exist, and what exists is only change, right? And you need to live in this change all the time. You need to accept it, and you need to understand that it is what it is. That's why to follow, to track all these changes and make the processes, especially in the finance area, to reflect all these changes correctly and accurately, it always was a challenge. And the third challenge, of course, these are your soft skills. You continue to work on them. We talked about this in the first question. And there are tons of different soft skills that we need to develop to become great leaders. To me, there are three major of them, and it's communication, it's negotiation skills, and it's a conflict resolution skills. Because going back to the first challenge, when you deal with people, all these three are critical, and you can win or you can lose if you don't have them. It's a key. These are the challenges. I don't think they're new. I think many of us experienced the same challenges. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. And again, I think the emphasis of the soft skills, it's important for almost anything you do, right? I think you can use it in any aspect of your life, in any industry or role you're working on. And I think just being able to effectively communicate or negotiate or resolve a conflict amicably, I
Exactly.
think can go a long way. So I think that was very good. Yeah, I want to shift now. So you moved, you changed from you went from one company to the next, and that's how you took the steps in your career. Can you kind of walk us through what prompted you to make those moves? Why did you make those moves throughout your career, and what was it that kind of attracted you to that next opportunity?
As I mentioned at the beginning, I came to Canada when I was like mid-aged, and I already knew what I want, and I already knew who I was. That's why probably my next step, every step, was dictated by the wish to be where I was. I wanted to gain the social status that I had before coming to Canada. It was very important to me. Um, and I knew that I do have already a set of skills that can be very helpful businesses. And I wanted to help, and I wanted to make things better. When I say better, more efficient, more effective. Um, I knew that application of the skills can be used in many industries, and actually exploring different industries and different streams were always interesting to me, because even though we have a lot of transferable skills, you all know that sometimes employers, they tend to pick up people from the same industry. My view, yes and no, because sometimes when people come from another industry, they bring this new blood, new vision, new ideas that could be very good for business. But I understand with the requirements of staying in the same industry as well. Um, Going back to your question, Giancarlo, about what prompted me my next step, just willingness to do more. And it's all about responsibilities, how ready you are to accept more responsibilities. I never thought about financial side of responsibilities. I knew that financial side will come if you do great. And my key point was I wanted to have a job where I would be able to manage everything, the job that gives me room for decision making, which could help businesses, could simplify their process, could give key stakeholders of the business the opportunity to be focused on their main business and not to be distracted by administration, finance, HR, IT, marketing. I had great ideas. No matter where I worked, I always saw things that can be improved, and not only in the finance area. That's the point. Sometimes I was even afraid to look into other area, because I knew as soon as I looked into somewhere, I will see something that needs to be improved. And apparently you don't have, you need to schedule, you need to prioritize all these multiple plates in the air to manage things accordingly. That's why it was a clear view that I have to grow. And my work at the legal firm, Filion, Wakely, Thorpe and Giletti, working hand by hand with the greatest mind in the area. I was lucky to have this opportunity to manage and help business the way they see fit and the way I could do it.
And so did you come to a point where you say, okay, I've exhausted my skills and my potential in this role. I'm now going to go out and look for something new? Or did opportunities come by and you said, oh, this sounds interesting. It could be potentially what I'm looking for. Like, where were you when these transitions happened in your career?
Uh, I think I'm lucky that way, because the only job I literally was looking, it was my second job when I went from automotive industry into electrical road construction industry. I did some job there, starting new connections with the recruiting agencies, to show myself, because my designation was already done, and I knew that I have to have a controllership position, because first, this is what I want. Second, this is what I need. And it's a natural step in your career growth. Starting from that, I think I was lucky. Or maybe some, um, people who started knowing me, because my next jobs, all of them, the switch was done by referral, I would say it. Agencies or people who knew me, they came and asked me, will you be interested to consider this job? And because I always was ready to take on more responsibilities. And I never was exhausted at my job. What I could be sometimes, I could be bored. If there was not enough innovations and implementations and projects and changes, yes, I could start sensing to be boring, because I'm kind of person who likes innovations, who likes change, and who goes for that. That's why when the opportunity came, I grabbed it. I grabbed it. But I was lucky. I was lucky with several jobs. I was approached and asked about that.
And so I have a couple questions off that Leah. So were there opportunities that were brought to your attention that you said, this is absolutely not for me, I'm not interested? And if so, why weren't you interested in those at the time? What was it specifically about those opportunities?
There were opportunities that I was not interested, because there were opportunities that were more lateral. You could have escalated responsibilities, but you remain in the same level. And this is not something what I was looking for, because I wanted to have more responsibilities at higher level. I wanted to have more decision power, decision-making power. And yeah, there were a couple of opportunities. They were controllership position, and I was not interested. I was very upfront and uh, about that. But as soon as I had the opportunities that were of a higher level in this career path, in this career ladder, then I took it. But yeah, you kind of feel what is it the right thing for you to do. And if it's very difficult for you to evaluate, is that the right thing to do, then you probably do your decision tree. But I always say, grab the opportunity that you feel is the right one at the right time. And it's very hard to describe, I know what it is. But don't grab the opportunity to quit from the job you don't like, because that will not be a right choice. That will not be the right choice. Don't run from something into something. Try to find the job that fits your understanding, your beliefs, your skills, your level of fear, because I know some of you can have a fear, like maybe some of you don't need this huge responsibility. Maybe some of you are not ready. Maybe some of you are ready for the positions that are mid-level, and this is great. This is fine. The key is to understand what it is you are good at and what you feel is for you. And I know it's difficult. It takes time, but you can do it.
And I think it's interesting. Like we always tell people, don't change jobs just for the sake of changing jobs, right? You never inevitably will probably make a bad decision, but you need to understand exactly what you're looking for and then go out and find that. And going to the fear thing, I think a lot of us struggle, Leah, with imposter syndrome, where we're never sure if we can do something, and then we end up doing it. We kind of fake it till we make it, the saying goes. Was there any bit of that in your career when, as you stepped up and took on more responsibilities, was there a bit of, did you have a bit of fear or a bit of uncertainty of, I don't know if I can do this, but let me learn along the way kind of thing?
It's a very tricky question for me because no matter how I will respond, it could sound strangely, probably. I didn't have fear. That's all I can say. I didn't. Maybe I'm overconfident. And maybe this is one of my weaknesses because I think I don't have weaknesses. Everybody does, right? But um, uh, I was happy. I always was happy to take on more responsibilities. And it was kind of a very good and proud thing for me to do, because I always thought about family traditions. There's, huge requirements on education, huge requirements to be always the best. And it's kind of support values of your family, and you you go to the top, right? And I didn't have fear. I knew that there will be tons of challenges. I knew that probably I will be upset time to time, but I knew that I will find the way to handle it and resolve it. I always was happy. There was no fear. There was no I didn't experience things like, okay, now I'm in this position. Oh my God, now what will I do? No. Maybe it's not good to say, maybe it's not the right thing to say, but it's true. I didn't have fear.
Okay. Um, I know you, Leah. Leah is a very confident person, so I know Leah. I know that's true. Shifting it, when you hired for your teams, what were some of the things that you would be looking for? So I have a two-part question, but I guess when you hired for your team specifically, what types of skills or traits were you looking for to bring on board?
Two things: technical skills. This is first thing, and for accountants, I know everything is changing from November 2022 when ChatGPT went. Technical skills could be understood differently these days, but at that time, technical skills were important for me. Strong math skills, it was very important for me. A little bit, I will deviate on this topic. I was attending a webinar for accountants, and I've heard there an opinion that accountants must acquire soft skills. We talked about that. And accountants must have soft skills and communication skills, and this is very important. Not just this, math, ha ha ha. And I didn't understand what it means, math, ha ha ha, for accountant, because I think it's extremely important. For example, I don't want to have in my team accountant who doesn't know math well, right? Because math and physics is all about your logical thinking, and this is what we need to have. This is our asset. And going back to your question, technical skills, plus I wanted to find the right fit, because every company, every firm, they have their own microclimate, their own culture, and you want to find the person who will not be a distractor, because the person can be with incredible technical skills, but it will not fit the culture of the firm or the company, and there is nothing good that can happen in this situation. Your project, because you are hiring in your team, can lead to failure. This is what I was looking for. I was looking for outgoing personality. I was looking for friendly personality, but at the same time, the personality who can keep the confidential information. And be the one who is not afraid of huge transactional level and routine work, because you know how much routine tasks we have, and the person should be self-sufficient with what they do, you know, and content with the job they do. It's not the most glamorous job we do, at least that's what the majority of people think. I still think we do a great job, and our tasks are extremely interesting, and we can make them even more interesting. But this is what I was looking for: technical skills and soft skills with this, you know, proper fit to the company.
And then when you went to go promote someone within your team, so have some succession planning, did did anything change as to what you were looking for specifically? Like on in addition to the everything else you had, like what else were you looking if you were trying to grow someone on your team? What would what would they do to stand out essentially to help with their promotions?
Um, I can say that every team where I worked with, I'm proud to say, I think I grew great leaders, and I feel very good about that. Um, I don't know, probably it's unconscious. When I was choosing people in the team, I knew that at some point they have this strong potential to grow into great leaders. And you could tell it, uh, people that come with to you with initiatives, and I always supported that. I have like open door policy, and I always loved when people came, you know, Leah, let's do that. It was very, very nice to hear from me. And you, you could see that they are not afraid to take on more responsibilities. You know, if if there is a person who is happy with what they do and they don't want to grow and they don't want additional responsibilities, this is fine too. But one or two per people, right? They always stand out from the crowd because they wanted to do more. They had great ideas. Uh, they wanted to make it happen, and here the requirement was, it's not the requirement, it's something that probably is nature of the person. You could tell that they will become great leaders. And that was the third probably factor when you picked up, you know, it's a high performer, um, easygoing, ready to step up, no complaints, that kind of people, they grow into leaders.
And so what happens? So not everyone is fortunate enough to be on teams that you ran. And so a lot of times we hear, so, you know, I'm looking to make that next step. I bring these ideas to my superior. They don't really give me the time of day. Is there something else the person can do within the company if they really like the company to stand out and work their way up? Or is the option to explore something else? I guess, is there anything they can do else to stand out within their company and kind of help propel them within the company?
People probably have very good understanding of the atmosphere, right, that surrounds their work. And I guess if they see that management or their superior or their boss are not responsive, maybe it's a time to ask question, you know, is it the right place for me to be? Maybe there is something else where I can prosper and I can lead. And again, you see how it goes. You have an idea, you came to your boss, and boss says no. And maybe boss is right. Maybe there are some financial criteria that don't allow for now, or maybe other stakeholders. You never know, because there is myriad of things that surrounds all this matter. Why cannot you do whatever you wanted to do? Because you don't have decision-making power. Why you don't have decision-making power? Because you are not in this position. What do you need to do to be in this position? You need to grow, right? You need to have a more senior level. Do you think this level will be given to you if you ask? And if the question is no, and you're ready to do this job, then you need to start exploring new opportunities. That's what I think. You have to be honest with yourself. What is it exactly that you want? Because many people want to grow, but when they come to this level, they say, oh, I didn't realize the level of stress I have to go through. I didn't realize how many issues I need to deal with simultaneously. But the more you read, the more you see, try to analyze what is it that you want. And if you think you're ready, try it, because without trying, you will never know.
Okay. And I guess that will bring us to one of our last questions before we move to questions, the questions that came through. But I guess for those aspiring CFOs out there, Leah, what advice would you give someone aspiring to become a CFO in today's business environment?
Oh, it's a difficult question because, okay, first of all, who listens to me right now? I have huge respect to all of you and what you do. This is, first of all, you need to remember, because I went through all the phases of the accounting job, and I know how not easy this job is. Am I in the position to give you advice? Maybe not. I think I'd rather say that I will share with you. To become a great CFO, and I touched this point already, you have to be honest with yourself. Do you really want that? Do you really want that? And do you really willing to do it? Second question to ask, do you know what does the CFO job entail? Do you see how your CFO works? What is it that he does? What does it take to do this job? It's not easy. It's a very stressful job, but definitely if you have skills and aspirations and willingness to take on more, and you feel happy, results oriented, then this is your way to go. But on this way, there are tons of skills that you have to be careful about. One of them is change management. You will need to lead change management, and it's not easy because change management now these days is an everyday thing. Everything changes all the time. Second, adaptability. Will you be able to adapt to new culture, to new teams, to new ways of doing business? And you must, as a CFO, because only by adapting, you will truly benefit, because you are gaining so much when you're adapting to all new environments, including culture, including finance, technical requirements. It's amazing. Never say, oh, we did these things that way, that's why we will do it that way today. No, that's not the CFO approach. That's what I think. You have to be open for new things. And another thing that I want to stress out, it's very important to have and develop your strong emotional intelligence skills. We all know that IQ is good. And this quadrant, I'm pretty sure all of you have. But one of the most important quadrants is actually emotional intelligence. And it's strongly linked to your soft skills. Emotional intelligence is something that you can develop, and it brings you more confidence. It brings you more skills how to deal with yourself, because first of all, and everything begins with your self-discipline, with your self-awareness, with your self-management. And also you add to that empathy, That means as a leader, as a CFO, as an aspiring CFO, you have to know what other people feel. It's very important. CFO, it's not a person of numbers only. It's person who leads, going back to what I said. It's person who manages and inspires people and sets proper examples of the hard work. That's what I think. I don't
I
know
think
if it's an advice, but it's something what I feel I wanted to share. And be ready to lead and drive a digital world. It's absolutely different world now.
and I think, Leah, that it was really great that you had the points. Like, the big takeaways is there needs to be a constant learning, and I think you also need to emphasize that learning on who you are aside from the finance and the numbers,
Absolutely.
right? It's
Yeah.
the soft skills, it's the management, it's the leadership. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about that stuff as their, and then, again, I say this is applicable to, we work with a lot of lawyers. Lawyers, if they want to become partners, it's the same thing, right? It's how are they developing their soft skills to get to where they want to go. Okay, we have 8 minutes left. We have 3 questions, so we're just going to get to them. I'm going to turn it over to Alexis.
Okay, Leah, our first question is, they're asking if you could elaborate more on negotiation skills in a CFO position.
Thank you for the question. Negotiation skills, it's something that you will encounter very often, because you are the one who will be buying out business stakeholders' minds all the time. It doesn't matter what you lead in which industry, but if you're talking about funding, you will need to make your point and prove to business stakeholders that this is the way you do it. And when I say negotiation skills, it means you are constantly buying out business stakeholders into the way how you're proposing to do things. For example, you need to implement new ERP system. As a CFO, you see it because in 2 years from now, the system that you have is retiring. Negotiation skills are needed to prove that this particular product is for the firm based on many criteria, right? Negotiation skills are very important also to have for your subordinates, because when you work with team members, and even if the idea is great, and you know that the idea is great, not everybody, and it's like, I'll tell you, practically nobody will take your idea right away. Without team, you will not be able to do it. That's why, again, negotiation skills you will use with your subordinates. If you go further as a CFO, treasury function is extremely important. If you are a hands-on leader, business leader, then definitely you will take control of the bank relations, establishing, right, revolving credit lines, investments, negotiation skills here with the banks, knowing the subject matter are very important, because you will be successful and you will secure the tools and lines and instruments you really need for the business. And if you take any other area, insurance or business continuity or emergency response teams or cybersecurity, everywhere you will need to have negotiation skills to speak with the people. Negotiation skills, when I said it's not just about negotiating the contracts. Actually, you will need these skills as well. You have to have the knowledge of the contract, because you will be in the position as a signing officer to sign many contracts. I don't know, Alexis, if I answered this question, but any point of the business relationship building with any business takeover, external or internal, does require negotiation skills.
I think, yeah, Leah, it makes a lot of sense. As you kind of progress up the career ladder, it's almost every conversation you have becomes a negotiation, whether it's with people on your team, whether it's with other departments, other suite executives. So I think that was perfect. Alexis, the next question.
This one has, so your approach, which has a combination of work arrangements such as 100% remote, 100% on-site, and hybrid, and what would the biggest challenge be today in the workforce post-COVID with those work arrangements, with AI, etc.?
Okay, let me rephrase the question if I understood this correctly. What is the biggest challenge with the flexible work arrangements and with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, let's think about CFO, right? As a CFO, you have to be ready and prepared to manage flexible work arrangements. That's it, point, right? How you manage flexible work arrangements, it depends on the business, on the industry, on the business settings. There are fully remotely, operating businesses. There are hybrid, but this is something that remains and stays. It will be the case. There are many companies that still work the old ways, 100% in office. Is it a challenge? Yes, it is a challenge, but you need to be ready for that, right? I just accept that. Again, it came. Yes, we are having virtually right now our webinar, and yes, I have tons of virtual meetings with the team members, and this is what it is. If I'm needed to be called to the office, I will go to the office, because sometimes you do need to have the personal conversations, and maybe something can be resolved much quicker if you have, time in the office. But understood the question correctly, how do you manage and what is the biggest challenge? It is the challenge. The challenge now is because there are multiple working arrangements and they are flexible. And we need to implement probably new tools, how to track employees' times, how to know what they are doing, what kind of freedom they can be given, what kind of insurance if they work not in the office. Some people just don't allow it, but there are many, many businesses that understand that this is the future. I believe it's the future, As for the artificial intelligence, this is one of my favorite topics. First of all, I do encourage all of you, and I hope you have designations, accounting designations. I do encourage you to take CPA courses in the library about ChatGPT for accountants. If you didn't do it please, because it will definitely enhance your vision, and maybe will remove some fears about, some jobs will disappear. Some jobs will disappear and your new jobs will come, but the mind remains the mind. I've heard the opinion, and I know that myself, that, for example, ChatGPT, if you type, you can even it can even write for you the Python code. You know that the Python language is very used by accountants in the world. It's becoming a very interesting tool these days, almost much more powerful than Excel, actually. And they say, you don't need to know this language. Now you typed it and ChatGPT created for you everything. The problem, the biggest challenge here is, how will you tell ChatGPT what it is exactly you want? And this is where your brain needed, right? Prompt engineering is very important for accountants these days. You need to know how to ask artificial intelligence what it is that you want. You have to be very specific because even one word can change the outcome. And the problem is how to read what ChatGPT gave you. Are you confident that it's correct? It's what you need. This is where your brain comes. This is where accountants will be needed, right? That's why don't be scared by artificial intelligence. Think it's here. It's something you need to start using. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. It's your tool, exactly like Excel, right? That's why just use it to your benefit. Don't be scarce. Is it a challenge? Oh, huge challenge because everything is developing.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna, apologies for those we're running over. We're just gonna get to the last question and then we will wrap up. Alexis?
Okay, the last question is moving from control to CFO. Can you please share the top 3 skills that could help you move to the higher level?
First skill, emotional intelligence. This is the first one that I would say. And again, we're talking here an aggregation of both, right? Technical and soft skills. Emotional intelligence, that will cover a lot of things. You need to develop this quadrant, this index very strongly. Second, probably should be the first one, it's educational background. Education, ongoing, continuous, don't be afraid of new things. Artificial intelligence, so what? I will conquer that, right? I will learn that. I will make it to be useful for me. And the third one, all this, it's business intuition. We didn't talk about that, but I think business intuition is built on the strong educational background plus experience. These are the three skills that I think are very important to becoming a CFO. Your willingness to become, it's something that encompasses everything. If you want to become CFO, you will be there.
Perfect. Leah, thank you very much. That was phenomenal. I really enjoyed the conversation. And I know everyone else really appreciates it. So thank you so much for your time. We will wrap up there. We will, for those who attended, we will be sending you the webinar recording after the fact, so you can always review it. If you'd like to connect with Leah, can they connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Yep. So
yes.
You can just search Leah's name on LinkedIn and you can connect with her. But thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate everyone's time. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And good luck with everything. You can do it. Remember that. Great people there. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.